The greenhouse floor is, there's a number of things you can do there. If you have a slab, of course, you could do pavers, tile, and set them in grout and do a very decorative floor on top of that concrete. You can also do that, though, with the thicker pavers that are maybe 18 by 18 square and 1 3/4 inches, 2 inches thick. Now you want to put down crushed rock and level that crushed rock first. And then I like to put a little sand on top of that crushed rock. Just lets me level those pavers. And then I use a piece of 3/8 plywood as a spacer between the pavers so I get a uniform pattern. Some people like to then put soil in between the pavers and plant thyme, maybe, whatever plant you like in the grooves. But you can also put sand in the space between the pavers, and then there's a liquid that you pour on top of that sand that turns it into a mortar, and then you never have to worry about the weeds growing up in between the pavers. So that would be mostly what you would be doing this type of a project down the aisle of the greenhouse. I would also recommend that you have a 4x4 perimeter for that aisle walkway. So set down 4x4s outside your pavers, and that helps hold them in place. If they're mortared together, it's probably not a problem, but if they're loosely placed, they tend to work their way apart as you walk over them over time. So that 4x4 on the outside is a retainer for your pavers. You want to put down a weed barrier. Everything grows in the greenhouse, whether you want it to or not. On top of the weed barrier, under the benches on the sides, I use pea gravel because it's really easy to weed pea gravel. The roots can't really grab on. Usually the roots will go down through the pea gravel to the weed barrier and then maybe get attached to the weed barrier. But if you've got 2-3 inches of pea gravel, it's very easy to take a rake and go under the benches and clean it out and keep a nice clean greenhouse that way. You might want to pour a concrete slab. It's not necessary, but some people like to do a concrete slab. They know that's going to be permanent, never going to have any weeds. You can go in with your hose and completely clean it out, sterilize the greenhouse. So the concrete slab does have some advantages. The one thing you do have to allow for, though, would be drainage, because you do want to be able to hose that concrete floor off and have it drain. So either a central drain or have it slope to the sides. And then where the door is located, you want to make sure that's flush so you can hose everything outside. The question is, would you use foam insulation under pavers? And yes, you've got it exactly right. Put your base down and then put the insulation down. Put the kind of a protective layer over the top of your insulation. So you're not going to put your pavers directly on the insulation.